Hi everyone, welcome back for another whiskey review. Well, not a review, but more a reveal. But more importantly, I've been missing for nearly a year. So obviously, as you would have seen, I haven't uploaded for a good part of 10 and a half months, or I think it's been nearly 11 months. I just haven't found the time. And for those of you who have been following the channel for a while now, I only upload the reviews when I have genuinely the time to sit down, spend a bit of time and review a whiskey. So obviously the whole year has gone by. There has been some really interesting whiskies that have come into my collection. I've been trying a few drams. I genuinely haven't tried as many new whiskies this year in 2024 compared to the previous years, but still have been trying plenty of independent bottlings, official bottlings. Things of note that I really enjoyed are the two inaugural releases from Lag Whiskey on the Isle of Arran. Really enjoyed it, and a whole bunch of different independent bottlings. And the independent bottling, especially aged in a single cask, is something that I really enjoy, or in particular whiskey that's aged in a single cask really makes me happy. So I think it would be no surprise why I've picked this particular Caol Ila. Now, this has been here in New Zealand for some time, and I actually picked this barrel for bottling a while ago. It's been here with a really lovely Kiwi logo on it that represents, I guess, a bit of what we're about here in New Zealand, but obviously whiskey aged made and aged in Scotland. Now, this particular whiskey's had a bit of a difficult journey. It was selected, then it kind of couldn't get bottled. Then it took a long time during the COVID post hangover where shipping was very slow to New Zealand, but it finally made here. But I never really got the time to kind of, I guess, get out and talk about it, or myself just, to what you might want to say, beat the drum a bit. But as this year has gone, as I've faced many challenges of life or celebrated many victories of life, as you do, I found myself opening more and more bottles of this. And I think by my rough estimate, I've actually drunk 4 bottles of this particular whiskey. But for purposes of this video, I thought I'll open a new one, so a brand new bottle. Now, the whiskey's bottled by The Single Cask over in the UK. Independent bottler. They've been around for a little while and do some amazing stuff. And I've tried lots of releases from The Single Cask. This one in particular is a Caol Ila that's aged for around 12 years in an ex-bourbon cask, and then aged for an extra year in a PX sherry quarter cask. Now, this is the key thing there. So obviously, the ex-bourbon cask was aged and only half of it's been used for this particular release, and it's been aged in a smaller or quarter size quarter cask sherry cask. So it's picking up those lovely colors and flavors quite rapidly. Personally, for me, smoky whiskey that's either aged for the whole time or finished in sherry cask is the holy grail. That is my most favorite flavor profile in terms of get that smoky peatiness on the palate and rewarded it with the sweetness. Well, that also depends on the sherry cask type you're using. 3 or 4 years ago, a bit losing the detail, I think it was 2019, we received a particular Caol Ila from The Single Cask that was aged initially in bourbon and then finished in Oloroso. But in this case, they've changed it and it's been finished in a PX sherry, which in my opinion adds more of that raisiny sweetness, which we'll get to in a minute. But the previous release, which was in Oloroso, had a lot more spice. It had the sweetness in and amongst the smoky character, but had a spicy note in the end, which was very enjoyable. And this one has been a bit sweet. And not the sort of typical big, heavy squid, The Single Cask bottle, which actually I've got another Caol Ila here, which I killed just a few days ago. So that's the standard bottle, which they do. And then there's this one, which they did for a limited time. I'm not entirely sure if they've changed it, but I still like it, very heavy. And that's what I always liked about The Single Cask. It feels like a decanter in the hand. All right, enough of talking. Now, just a little bit about why I haven't been uploading. Just the 2024 year started with a bang. I was just on a beautiful journey. My wife and kids were in India for 30 days, and I was here left in New Zealand by myself. So I was just playing lots of golf, doing whiskey reviews, and as you can imagine, as a family came back, the lovely commitments that comes with having a family kicked in, and then work life started to get quite tense. So I just decided not to do any reviews. But since around June, July, I've had a lot of time on my hand, but I've dedicated to just getting some other things in life sorted. And this particular video, I've been kind of putting it off, I'll record it, but today, being the 31st of December 2024, it is the last day of the year. I thought I'll sit down, I've done my day's work, done all the chores. I'll sit down and record a nice video to talk about a whiskey I've spent a lot of time with. Now, Caol Ila, as if you didn't know already, is based on Islay, which is on the west coast of Scotland. And I've been to Islay once in 2018 and spent just magical 6-7 days on the island, and just really, really good. And for me personally, I had become a big fan of Caol Ila, mainly because not as much the official bottlings. I do like them, but I don't drink them often. But mainly because being a big Diageo distillery, being a PT whiskey, these guys have the capacity to give a lot of barrels to independent bottlers who do beautiful, magical things with them and age them in interesting casks after either being an ex-bourbon cask or being a sherry the whole time. All sorts of really, really good stuff, which gives you an ample supply of new, interesting whiskies to try. Now, color-wise, not exactly very dark. So it's only been in the sherry cask for around a year or just under, but obviously a lot deeper in color than if it was to be aged just in an ex-bourbon cask. And then my favorite Denver Lily glass, still got one here. Now, to talk a little bit about what other whiskies I've enjoyed. I did enjoy a bit of the Thompson Cask Martin, which is a New Zealand whiskey, aged for the full time in ex-Pinot Noir cask, red wine cask, New Zealand red wine cask. And I thought it was a really nice young whiskey. But also, I've been drinking a lot of the Benriach quarter cask peated. Found a box of it in the vial, and this was released, I believe, back in 2017 or 2018. So these have been out of stock for a while, and I found some. But otherwise, I've been drinking a lot of Arran whiskey all through the range. I did talk about lag whiskies before, but Arran 10, 17, 25-year-old, and obviously the very lovely sherry cask, the full cask strength one. Really, really good stuff. And then obviously a little bit of the Arran port as well. In terms of the independent bottlings, this year, I haven't really got to open as many bottles. I just didn't feel like it, but I've been accumulating a lot of stock. That's something we can talk about in another video, why I collect so many independent bottlings. Mainly because they are so different. Each time you get something different. Whereas, yes, I like the Arran Sherry cask. It's really, really lovely dram. But it's predictable. It's going to be always the same, which kind of delivers when you need it to. But every now and then you want something that's a bit different and gives you joy, but also creates that bit of, I guess I'm just not finding the word, but just creates a bit of urgency in your head. Like this particular whiskey that I'm really enjoying is limited. It's only couple of hundred bottles or potentially 300 bottles. But one day it will be gone, and now I have to go looking for the same flavors in another bottling. All right, let's talk about this whiskey. Now, over the years, I've tried lots of different Caol Ilas. The one that I showed, I think I lifted up the bottle. This one in particular was 13 years in the ex-bourbon cask, so full journey in there. And it's been really good for me to drink them side by side. There's this one obviously stopped being in the bourbon barrel at around age 12, and then the extra sherry cask. But overall, very similar whiskies. All right, let's talk about what's on the nose. Sweet. So sweet. Hey, something else I should mention. I'm sitting here right now just blabbering on and talking about how wonderful this whiskey is. But I'm also feeling quite nervous because this is the first time I'm actually recording a whiskey review on my new iPhone, and I'm new to iPhones. I've been an Android or Samsung guy all my life, but very, very excited about my new iPhone. I'm recording on it, but I just don't know if something could go wrong and I could sit here talking for 20 minutes and it might not record properly, but hopefully it will go well. I've got a nice whiskey in my hand. What could go wrong? All right, on the nose. You pick up a little bit of honey straight away. It's there. What's really, really interesting is the nose, the smoky character just doesn't jump up on you. It's there in a real subtle level, but the honey comes through first. Sweetness, so good. And just maybe a bit of citrus coming through as well. And that's something I've enjoyed about the Caol Ilas lately. It took me a long while to pick up on the note, and we all don't always pick up on the same things on the nose and the palate. We are all very, very different. And what we pick up on nose and palate is also a little bit determined with what foods we've been eating, what drinks we've been having, and all that kind of stuff. And I remember watching a review by someone else many years ago, and they were talking about how they always get the citrus on the nose and the palate in Caol Ila. And I just never found it. But lately, I've been finding it in this particular one. It's there, the honey, almost like a vanilla sweetness. And then you got that lime sweetness, that citrusy note in there, and just gentle smoke coming and going. But overall, the smoke is very subdued. Normally, you find that in very long edge Caol Ilas. I've tried the 25-year-old, 27-year-old independent bottlings and 25-year-old official bottling. In those, I found the smoke to be a lot subdued. But this is still relatively young at 13 years age. So for the smoke to be subdued on the nose, that's nice, I guess. You know, unless you wanted a really peaty, smoky one, then you probably needed to get a bottle or something like that. That was out the gate. But unfortunately, I didn't leave any in there to review. Maybe I have another bottle somewhere. Right, back to the whiskey. Let's take a sip and toast to the year it's been, 2024. Full of lovely challenges, but amazing milestones as well. And here's also to hoping I will keep recording reviews and upload them in 2025. I have aspirations. I have put a bit of what you call a social media plan together, but let's see if I follow through or life allows me to follow through. Well, here's to everyone. Wow. Smoky character. Wow. So I quite deliberately didn't have anything else alcoholic after dinner tonight. Usually I could have had just a really light, sweet Speyside whiskey just to warm up the palate, or even a beer. But I wanted to get the full burnt, the full flavor, the flavor bomb that this particular whiskey is. What is interesting is right now on the palate, it's coming across very dry and ashy. And I do remember that about this whiskey. The first couple of sips, especially if you haven't had another whiskey, because the palate is so dry, it wasn't quite ready for the flavor bomb. It does come across dry and ashy, and the smoky character is there. But as the palate starts to warm up, it starts to unravel beautiful sweetness of the citrus, the honey, and the raisiny sweetness that starts to come through. Oh, all right, going back in, looking for sweetness. Another whiskey that I've actually really enjoyed, and sadly, there's just a tiny bit left in it. And I don't have a spare bottle, but I do have a lot of other Blair Atholl that's long aged. It was this particular Blair Atholl. Just deep, dark in color in 25 years in an ex-sherry cask. It's just magic, pure magic. Now that my palate has started to calm down, you could say, that raisiny sweetness is starting to come in, that honey, that vanilla is there, and it's just lingering on the palate beautifully, really beautifully. Oh, wow. Now, warning. This particular whiskey, if you don't like peaty smoky whiskies, it will not be for you. All right? I did say during the video, on the nose, the smoke and peatiness is a bit subdued, but on the palate, it is quite full on. If you don't like peaty whiskies, there's nothing in there for you. I mean, I would encourage you to fight it and try to find the sweetness past the smokiness, the roughness, the harshness that comes from being a peaty whiskey, because you will be rewarded with amazing sweetness at the end of it. But if that's something you can't, and if you're not up for the challenge, it's not the right whiskey for you. It will never be. And that's okay, because that means there's a lot more of it to go around for people like me who like smoky whiskeys, aged fully or finished in a sherry cask. Now, this particular bottle, I did not mention at the start, is one of only 135 bottles. And we've sold quite a few of it on APM, but there's still currently about 70 to 80 left. So there's a lot of it to go around, which is okay by me, because I'll happily drink all of them. But obviously, I'd like to share some of them as well. Well, that's all I had to say about this particular whiskey. You know, it's been a crazy year full of challenges and joy and all that kind of stuff. But overall, 2024 has been just great. In 2025, I need to just focus a bit, do a lot more whiskey reviews, because there's no shortage of whiskeys. I currently have over 130 samples. I think it's way more than that. But the last time I looked on my Excel sheet, I had about 130. And on top of that, I probably got another 300-400 bottles of whiskey, which I've accumulated but never opened because, well, I don't want to say I've been lazy. I just haven't found the time. So the stock is there. I just need to find time and focus and just get some of these reviews done. So here's to hoping I'll do a few more of them in 2025. But for now, I'm just going to sit back and enjoy a bit more of this 2024 whiskey of the year. For me, personally, the Caol Ila 13-year-old finished the next PX Sherry cask, bottled by the single cask, only available in New Zealand. Well, thank you so much for watching. Please do like, share, and subscribe. Otherwise, I'll see you in the very near future for another whiskey review. See you later. Bye-bye.